In this video, we're going to take a look at recent advances in editing in Manifold Future. And what we're looking at is a project here, a Radiant project that we've opened, which has two layers, a buildings layer, we'll turn that on and off, and a roads layer, turn that off and on. We're working through a map. And here in the contents pane, we can click open layers, and we can see the layers right there. The first thing we're going to learn is that choosing an object for for seeing the fields that it contains, the field values it contains, or for the coordinates or to edit it, happens with an alt click. So if we want to edit an existing object like this one here, we alt click it, and that immediately launches the record panel of the contents pane with values and coordinates tabs. As long as we're here in the values tab, we're just looking at the values. And we can look at those all day long, and we're not going to accidentally be at risk of dragging one of these coordinates, because if we try to drag it, we're just going to be doing the default pan motion that is associated with left click and drag in all Radiant style software that Manifold creates. If we click here into the coordinates tab, the little boxes, as you can see, they get bigger, are enabled for dragging and editing and reshaping. We're not going to reshape that object quite yet. We want to leave it the way it is, but that just sort of demonstrates how that works. In order to click on something, we have to be able to click on the active layer. So here we're in the buildings layer. If we alt click on a road, nothing happens because those are just the road layer. If we click on any of the objects in the buildings layer, on the other hand, those are enabled. So if I click here on the roads, now I can click on the roads objects, and you can see when they're selected, when they're indicated that they're chosen for display here in the record and coordinates pane, they're highlighted. But clicking, you can click all day long on the areas and nothing happens. What's cool about this is that if we actually click on an unseen object through the area, it'll light up even though we're clicking through an object in an upper layer. Let's go back to the buildings layer, and let's actually create a new object to see how that works. We're going to create a line by clicking on this tool right here. And by default, snapping is on. We can turn snapping off with a spacebar, and we can turn it back on with a spacebar. And the way snapping works is it doesn't snap to all vertices everywhere. By default, snapping just snaps to vertices that are reasonably near the mouse. And as we get farther away, we can click on other locations without it snapping to a vertex. The idea being that you only want to snap to things that are reasonably close to the mouse. You don't want to snap to something off screen, for example. If we want to create the line, we can either right-click at this point. We can click Add Record. If we want to abandon it, we can click Escape or Control Backspace, and we abandon the edit. So let's click another line. I'll turn snapping off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now let's create that line. We have just added a record. All right. If we want to select that, let's move some vertices around. So let's alt-click that to choose that for editing. Like I say, these vertices are not enabled for movement until we click on the coordinates pane here. And now they are. This shows the current coordinate. If we want to know which of these coordinates we're messing with, we can insert a coordinate here if we want to add new coordinates, new vertices, or we can just drag the existing ones around to reshape the way the line looks, to make it a little bit flatter like that. And if we want to update the record, just click Update Record. If we like, we can choose more than one of these at a time by selecting. So I'm going to Control click this to select that particular vertex. Notice it's now filled in. And then I'm going to Control click on this one to select that one as well. And now the two selected records that we see here in the coordinates panel are both indicated in red selection color. And here in the map window, we can see that the two coordinates that are selected for editing both have filled in little shapes. So now when I drag any one of them, either one of them, both of them will move together because they've both been selected. So we'll leave it at that, and now let's actually select all of them. And when we select all of them, they all move together, which is pretty cool. And here at this point, I can right-click to commit these changes, or I can click Update Record. Let's right-click. We've now just committed the line. I'm going to Control-click on this line to select it and delete to delete it. Because now what we're going to do, let's do one more thing. Let's show how we can copy and paste between values of the vertices. So first we're going to create a line, and I'm going to alt-click on it. Oops. Back here I'm going to alt-click on it. I didn't want to create another line, I want to choose this one. And here if I click on this vertex here, we see that it's this row right here. And if I click on that vertex there, we see it's that row right there. Suppose I want this vertex here to be immediately above this one, this vertex right there. That is, I want the x values of both of them to be the same, because x is left and right and y is up and down. So it's easy to do. I can just double click into here and click copy to copy that value, then double click into there, click paste. That's it, Control V to paste it. Now when I click enter, notice that this vertex moves to there because I've just made the x value of the vertex the same as the x value in this vertex. And notice we're still here in preview mode. At any point we can click Control Backspace to abandon this or to escape to abandon this, but instead I'll click Update Record to commit that change. Great, we just committed that change. If I want to edit things here, you can change the name to line and extra line. And I've just added those values to that object, coordinate values to that's for the, so for the, in the table for the record for this object, we've just added those values. So far so good. Let's click on this line to delete it, and now let us create an area. Great, the way we're going to do that is, let's spacebar to turn snapping back on. I'll click here, click there, click there, click there, click there, and now we're going to click here, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's about what we want our area to be. So I'll right click, and there we've just created an area. What I could have done, by the way, at the same time is I could have applied record values for that area as well, so we could turn this class into building. And the name, since this is buildings in Monaco we're working with, let's call this the Annex Rainier the Fourth. Just about everything in Monaco is Rainier something or other these days, because in honor of the ruling prince. I don't think there's a Rainier the Fourth yet, but sooner or later, no doubt there will be. So there we go. We've just added some values to that, and we can reshape the coordinates if we like. Let's see, which one is this here? That's that coordinate there, and this one here is that one there. So let's select some of these. I'll click that, Control click that, Control click that, Control click that, and last but not least, Control click that. If at any point we want to see what the correlation is between coordinates that we're clicking here to select with the red selection color and the vertices that make up the object here, the coordinate vertices for which those coordinates represent, we can see that here the ones that we've clicked that are selected have that dark blue fill color, whereas here they're that color. And now, as we know, as we've seen from the line example, all these are going to move together. So when I take one of these and drag it and drag it, all the others are going to drag with it because they're all selected and all the selections go together. So let's kind of scrunch that in together a little bit like that. Click Update Record, and there it is. As before, if we want to Control A to choose all these coordinates, that's easy enough to do. We do Control A, and now we can move the whole object around. And again, you can see the preview as to where that object is going. At any point, we can Control Backspace and give up on that. Or if we like, back here, Control A. Oops. I was not in the coordinates pane here. When I click the Control A, we can move the object and choose Update Record. And there it is. If we want to get rid of this object, no problem. We simply Control click on it to select it, and then we choose Delete, and it's gone. So there you go. That's fast and easy editing using the new editing capabilities. There's way more coming, and that builds ahead in the next week or two. So I hope you enjoyed this, and goodbye from Radian Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.